live in stereo.
What up, guys? Welcome back, welcome back. Uh, I just realized after going back and kind of watching some of that last one that we did, my mic audio has been terrible. I don't know what happened since now and last time I streamed back in Korea. Only thing I can think of, the suitcase that this thing was in got all beat up. I had this little glass souvenir from my sister. They got smashed. My colognes and stuff got all beat up. I don't know if they did something that damaged my mic internally, but yeah, sorry about that. Back out. Trying to make it back. Got you, bro. Got you. Appreciate it, Smooches. Good to see you, Coma, TP, Mr. Nukeman, Smooches. Glad to see you guys. Oh, crap. Let me shut this door real quick. I forgot. Gotcha. Can still move around. Do what he need to do. How is everybody today, man? How you guys doing? How my people doing? So, for the past couple days, we have been talking about Job pretty extensively. And yesterday we got further into that than I ever really have, which was very enlightening in a lot of aspects. And I was going back and I was actually watching some YouTube content on that earlier today, which kind of enlightened me to a few other things I didn't really even consider yesterday when we were discussing Job. And it got me reflecting and kind of asking more questions, like seeking more answers right now. A bit better there, broke down in church. It happened to you, brother. It happened to you. Let the Holy Spirit fill you. It's not sure entirely everything you're going through, but I will be praying for you, man. You know we got you. Little tactitards gotta stick together. I got you, man. God will turn it all around. It just won't necessarily be on our time, the way that we want things to happen, and that's the hard part. That is the hard part. Mm, we're gonna start it. Let's go. Probably they'll put you in stuff. 1 second. Let me find. Okay, so reflecting back over Job, like Job was the ideal child of God, right? He was man, so he wasn't perfect, but he aligned all of his heart and desires with God. And God knows the motives of our heart. Uh, Let me keep my commands, so it's my Father, and he will give me the spirit of truth, Lord. I'm sorry, I had this actually set up and then I stepped away for like 30, 45 minutes and I forgot everything that I had just set up. My bad. Okay, so dang, there was a few people I was really hoping would be able to make it in here right now. I know a few of y'all are a little bit more well versed and a little bit further along in the spiritual journey than I necessarily am. Um, I really had some questions that I was wanting to help get some answers to. It's okay. So Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust unto the Lord with all your heart and lean not into your own understanding. I'm sure everyone in here has heard that at some point or another. We hear that over and over just to lean into the Lord, to let God's will take over. And but at the same time, we're told to send our requests and our prayers up to God, right? We're constantly told to ask and you shall receive. But I've been discovering that there's this fine line that I don't feel ever really gets talked about. And I've been experiencing it firsthand, and it was really eye-opening this morning when I realized what was going on. I don't think I've ever really heard people cover this, but like, let me just screw it. I'm gonna get personal. I'm gonna open up and give y'all a little bit about my specific situation and like tell you where I'm at. So, my main thing is like hearing God's voice. I told y'all before the medication that I got put on, and then the spiraling with drinking and depression, like depression on top of the medication, and then the alcohol on top of all that, and it was just terrible. And I felt more and more disconnected. I felt more and more like I was getting, I almost felt abandoned in some ways. Like I couldn't hear his voice. I couldn't see his will. I didn't know what he wanted me to do. I felt so lost. And that was part of what was like adding to the whole depression and adding to thoughts of not wanting to be here, like I was really really in a bad spot. And then I started getting my stuff back together and I started getting back into the word and like doing everything I was supposed to do. I dropped the pills, I dropped the drink, I dropped all that crap, and I got to a point where I felt like God was starting to make a return into my life, and like I truly believed that I was feeling a presence, and that I was starting to hear the voice again and receive that guidance that I was looking for. And I felt that I'd been following the Lord and doing as I was told, but that's where I started to run into some issues. Like I was praying and kind of bargaining with God to take my life or to use me and to keep this family whole. And I was basically telling God, like, I'll do this in exchange for you doing that. That's not what I necessarily intended. That's not where my mind was at, per se. I, I didn't mean to, I don't know, just straight up bargain with God, but reflecting back on it in a lot of ways, that's exactly what I was doing. And I was basically telling God that I'll do this in exchange for you doing that. And to this day, I've still been kind of begging for signs or word that my own desires will come to fruition. And I see the error in these ways, and I understand that I also need to have the respect and fear of God. And that is where Job really shined. Like he not only did he respect and love the Father, he aligned his heart directly with God's will. And he had that fear of God. And that's one thing that I keep kind of just trying to remind myself is like we've kind of touched on it before. We have a loving, amazing Father that doesn't aim to do us any wrong, that only has our best intentions in mind, but we still have to be a responsible child. Like, we still got to do our part, and we can't try to use God. And in some aspects, you could look at it like that's what I was doing, and that's kind of what I started feeling earlier today when I was reflecting over all this. Like, so my thoughts now consist of everything that I'm going through right now. Is this a spiritual battle similar to Job's story where he was blessed with all he wanted in life and God wants to prove that I'll remain faithful servant during the times of great loss? Is that what's happening to me right now? Or is this more of the Father teaching me a lesson about aligning my heart with his and I'm being punished for taking my life and my family for granted and trying to overstep God's rule in some ways? And that's where I'm at right now. I don't know. I thought that I was hearing what I needed to do and what I needed and what I wanted. And although I meant well, I still wasn't fully aligning with God's will per se. I was still, I don't know, I guess trying to force my own will to happen, my own desires to come to fruition, like I said. And I'm stuck at that point now. Good to see you, AR. I'm stuck at that point now to where I don't know what this is. I don't know if this is the battle like Job was facing, to where I'm just being tried and he's stripping everything away from me right now to test my faith and to see if I'm going to remain faithful and continue doing what I'm doing even when I have all my blessings stripped away. Or, like I said, if this is like a punishment because I was taking everything for granted and I was trying to force my own will and not truly submitting myself to the Lord and surrendering to him. Like, I don't know. Do you guys have any perspective on that? Is there anything that are there any verses? Is there any guidance that you guys know from the scripture that could help me navigate that path? Um, I mean, of course, again, referencing Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, trust into the Lord with all your heart and lean not into your own understanding. I, and Hebrews 11 and 1, faith is the substance of things hoped for and evidence of things not seen. Like, I know regardless, I have to continue walking in faith, and I'm on that journey. I just feel like I don't know if I'm able to discern the difference between what is God's will, what is his voice, and when I'm asking for these signs, asking for these suggestions and like the hopefulness for the future, I don't know if that is the interference from the enemy that I'm getting as feedback, or if that's actually the Lord giving me those signs. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm having so much trouble the past like month or two trying to discern what is what and who is who. And a lot of that comes back to just me wanting my own desires, you know? I'm so lost. What verse it is, but God says that if you sin and you're already saved, you won't see the sin, you'll go to heaven no matter what once you're saved. Yes. And when you accept Jesus Christ into your life and into your heart and you know that he is the path to the Lord, you are saved. And I believe that that's where it starts and how you gain entry. But the blessings and the levels to it and how good of a time you have here and in the afterlife, how abundant the blessings truly are is based off of your journey and how good of a follower, how devoted of a follower you are. That's what I've been taught. That's honestly what I believe. That's what I've been retaught. When I was younger, I remember being taught that like you have to be baptized. That was a huge thing. I grew up in a Southern church. They taught about baptism, and growing up, you don't just wash away the sins. You're blessed by the Son of God. Philippians 4, 6, and 7. Let's take a look at that. Philippians 4. Philippians 4, 6, and 7. I'm going to start reading at Philippians 4, 4. Rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again, rejoice. Let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is near. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Jesus Christ. And yeah, I get it. This household deadlifts. I never felt a true connection with faith. Pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank you for what He's done. You experience God presence, which He sees everything. Oh man, I get that, but I mean, again, like right now, I'm having trouble differentiating the two. Like I was saying a minute ago, I'm having trouble truly differentiating which one's coming from God and which one's coming from the enemy. I know that regardless, I have to try to align my heart more with His will and to be able to accept what comes and be able to accept that my ideas for the future are not necessarily what He has in store. But every time I've asked about certain things and I've seen the signs and I feel like I've heard His voice again, and I feel like we've been speaking. But then things happen, and I don't know if it's a test of faith to see if I'm going to hold on to that faith and that belief. I don't know if it's that, or if He is guiding me our way, or if it's interference. I don't know. And I guess that is being anxious. I see what you're saying with that. I get why you reference Philippians 4. Is that considered being anxious? My uncertainty, I guess, a lack of clarity right now. I personally wouldn't necessarily say that that's anxiousness, but I don't know. Uh, let's see. I had some more written down too. So I was watching my pastor back in Colorado this morning too, and she was actually covering some topics very similar to this, definitely along the same line, definitely along the same thoughts, and she did give me a little help unintentionally, like watching her this morning. For anyone else kind of struggling with this, like what should motivate us to bear much fruit? We talked about the seed, the sower, all that stuff, and like your trials by faith and your work, your efforts, bearing fruit over time, bearing fruit in the name of the Lord. But again, it comes back to the position of your heart and not trying to submit your will in front of the Lord's, but submitting to the Lord's will. What should motivate us to bear much fruit? And she referenced John 15, verses 35 and 34. Wait, is it John 15, 35, 35? Oh man, did I write down the wrong verses? Oh man, I may have written down the wrong thing. The answer to the question though, like, what should motivate us to bear much fruit? The answer that she gave was love. And it should be love. It should be by loving one another and loving God as He has loved us. God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son. And she was explaining that like even when things are hard and even when that one person they makes themselves hard to love, that is the answer. That is how to act according to the will of God. Um, I don't know. I got so lost on this whole thing just now. I wrote down the entire wrong verse too. Actually, let's go over here. Let's go to John 14. John 14, 23 to 29. So in the book of John, Jesus replied, anyone who loves me will obey my teaching. My Father will love them, and we will come to them and make our home with them. Anyone who does not love me will not obey my teaching. These words you hear are not my own, they belong to the Father who sent me. All this I have spoken while still with you. But the Advocate, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, will teach you all things and will remind you of everything I have said to you. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give you I do not give to you as this world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled and do not be afraid. You heard me say I'm going away and I'm coming back to you. If you love me, you will be glad that I'm going to the Father, for the Father is greater than I. I have told you now before it happens, so that when it does happen, you will believe. I will not say much more to you, for the prince of this world is coming, and he has no hold over me. That is a discernment that I was talking about. Like, of course, Jesus was so much more connected, and he was right there with the Father. And he was able to discern the difference between the enemy and the direct guidance of the Father. What do I do when I don't know the difference in the two? What do I do when I'm not sure? You just walk in faith, right? Like you're supposed to just blindly walk in faith. But I'm not sure what he wants me to do right now. I'm not sure what exactly that entails. I'm not sure which path I'm supposed to be walking. So how do I know that I'm moving forward in the right direction according to his will? And I'm speaking about me personally, but I feel like a lot of people can relate to that, you know? Like hopefully you guys can relate to that. Somebody watching this can. Struggle that thoughts for vulnerable by myself. Dad, that problems with friends. See, I can understand that, coma. I have been there myself. I've been there recently. Not understanding my lack of purpose, not understanding why you're here, right? Like, why does this keep going on? Why am I still going through this? Why am I still here? All I can tell you is the same thing that my pastor and my mom and my friends and family and everybody keeps telling me that there is a greater purpose, just like we've been learning about with Job, just like we continue to talk about with him. All these trials, all the tribulations, everything that you're facing, we just got to keep moving. You just got to keep walking in faith. You just got to know that in the end, God is going to get you through it. Things will get better. And in the end, you prove your faith to the Lord and you're going to be blessed in abundance. It's easier said than done. And I'm right there with you. Because there's times where I'm tired of walking. I'm tired of walking. I've been tired of walking. I'm tired of losing. I'm tired of feeling like exactly what you were just describing. I've been there too. And that's just, you just got to keep walking in faith, brother. You just got to keep walking in faith. Let me take a look. Let me see what this one is. John 16. Your truth comes to guide you into all the truth. He will not speak on his own. He will speak only what he hears, and he will tell you what is yet to come. What belongs to the Father is mine, as well as the Spirit will receive from me. Doesn't help. Crap. Job 33:14. Let's take a look back at Job. God does speak, now one way, now another, though no one perceives it. Why do you complain to him that he responds to no one's words? For God does speak, now one way, now another, though no one perceives it. In a dream and a vision of night, when deep sleep falls on people as they slumber in their beds, he may speak in their ears and terrify them with warnings, to turn them from wrongdoing and keep them from pride, to proceed from the pit, lives from perishing by the sword. Understand the correlation currently. Matthew 7:24. Matthew 7:24. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on a rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house. Yet it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain comes down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash. Jesus had finished saying these things. The crowds were amazed at his teaching because he taught as one who had authority and not as their teachers of the law. Everything just keeps telling us to walk in faith. I guess that's just the answer to my own question right now. Everything that we keep looking up is just continue to walk in faith, continue to walk in faith, continue to walk in faith, and know that God's will is greater and He has good purpose for your life. But again, like, how do I know I'm walking on that right path? Mm-hmm. Revelation 3:20. What is Revelation 3:20? That says, To the one who is victorious, I will get the right to sit with me on the throne, just as I was victorious and sat down with my Father on his throne. Whoever has ears, let him hear the Spirit says to the churches. Usually when you're walking in the wrong path, other people will start dragging you down. That's how I see it and how my pastor pointed me toward it. Walking. Yeah, I mean, I've been steering clear of all that. I've definitely been steering clear of all that. I don't know. I guess I'll just continue doing what I'm doing. So, Romans 12:2. So do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You'll be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. I get it, but I don't get it. Like I understand this a bit myself. I understand to give in to God's will and to know that what is good and perfect will be his will. But when you're at a point of uncertainty, like how do you know? Maybe the path is only made for us when we're ready for it. Yeah. I don't know. I may talk to my pastor more on this one, try to get a little bit more guidance. We may just revisit this entire topic. We may go over this again. I know a lot of people are probably watching Mantis right now too because he's been live. He's doing that 24-hour live stream thing. I know a lot of the guys that are usually over here are probably over there right now too. I think we are gonna cut this one short. We're gonna cut this one short. I'm gonna do some more research. I'm gonna do some more reading on my own, and I'm gonna talk to my pastor about this some more as well, and try to get some more insight. Try to have some more talking points for when we do come back to this. Um, if you guys would like, I can do some Oblivion streaming. Be down for that. I'm in somewhat of a decent mood right now. Been filling out job applications for the majority of the day and doing some research, spending some time in the Bible and on a walk. Try to do this, but yeah, if you guys want some Oblivion, just let me know. I'll try to go live again here in just a few minutes with that. We will definitely be returning to this subject. I want to get some answers. I want to potentially try to help somebody else that could be struggling with this as well. I do appreciate you guys tuning in, though, as always. Mr. TP Log, Captain Coma, Sherry, Mr. AI, Smooches, Nukeman. Appreciate all you guys. How long have we even been live? I don't think it's been that long, right? Yeah, like 23 minutes. All right, 35. How long have we even been live? I don't think it's been that long, right? We're gonna go ahead and cut this one off, guys. I do appreciate you. Um, I hope to see you over on the Oblivion stream if we do that soon. Until then, though, you guys stay active, stay healthy, stay hydrated, stay blessed. My bad once again for such a short stream. We'll let back around though. Later, people.